So there's this story, and it just, I don't know, it's one of those ones that just really gets to you. It's about this memorial in Queens.
Yeah.
And it was for this teenager, 16 years old, who'd been, killed months earlier. And like people had gathered, for his birthday to remember him. And then, people just started shooting.
Wow.
10 people were shot.
Gosh.
Thankfully, it sounds like everyone's going to be okay, as far as we know.
Sure.
But it just raises so many questions. Like, how does a memorial, a place for grieving, become the scene for more violence? Like, what is going on here?
That's heavy.
So today, we're going to, take a deep dive into this whole thing, try to unpack it. We've got some news reports that we're going to be looking at.
Okay.
We're going to get into the details, really try to wrap our heads around this. And by the way, we want to hear what you think, okay? What are your thoughts on this whole thing? What stands out to you? Hit us up in those comments. Let us know.
Yeah.
And don't forget, you know the drill.
Yeah.
Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Absolutely.
Helps us out a lot.
Yeah.
All right, so jumping right in. This is in Jamaica, Queens, New York. And it's just this awful situation, right? You've got this memorial, a birthday celebration for Tyrone Mungo. That's the 16-year-old who was killed. And it's supposed to be about, remembering him, honoring his life.
Right.
And then suddenly you've got this burst of violence.
I mean, it's just, yeah.
Yeah.
It's tragic. And I think what's really, really disturbing, unsettling about this is it wasn't just random. I mean, this was at a memorial, a place where, people are already grieving, where they should feel, I don't know, a little bit safe at least. And then this happens.
Exactly. And it just feels like, more evidence of this cycle of violence we see, especially with guns in this country. So let's get into some of the specifics here. It was late Wednesday night. This venue was pretty crowded. A lot of folks there for Tarion. And then you have this group, about 15 people there waiting outside. Some folks are leaving. And then out of nowhere, 4 guys just walk up and start shooting. Just open fire into the crowd.
Just like that.
Yeah. 30 rounds. Can you imagine?
Oh, my God. That's terrifying.
It's awful. And, people are running, screaming, trying to get to safety. It's just chaos.
That's awful.
The Queensboro president, Donovan Richards, he said, quote, 10 families woke up this morning to some of the most devastating news one could imagine. Receiving their loved one had been shot.
It's hard to even process,
It's awful. It really makes you think about all the families affected by this, not just by this shooting, but by the original one, too.
Yeah. And then you think about Tyrone. This kid, his life cut short by violence, and now this at his memorial.
Right.
They had these candles spelling out his nickname, Take.
Wow.
There were basketballs, photos, this sign. I saw a picture of it. It said, "We forever love you, LL Take."
And it just, I don't know, it just adds another layer to the whole tragedy.
It really does.
It's almost unbearable.
Like the irony is just, it's thick, it's palpable.
Exactly. And it brings us back to that question we started with. How do we break this cycle?
Yeah.
How do we stop this from happening again and again?
It's like this huge systemic problem.
It is. And, I'm not going to pretend we have all the answers.
Yeah.
But I do think it's important to talk about it, to keep raising awareness.
Absolutely.
Okay, so back to the actual case. Police are still looking for the suspects. As far as we know from the news reports, there's no clear motive yet.
Okay.
We're not sure why they targeted this memorial, why these people.
Right.
It's a mystery. And, it's just unsettling, isn't it?
For sure.
The venue, they put out a statement, expressing sadness. They're going to cooperate with the police, which is good. But, what can they really do at this point?
Yeah.
It's just such a mess. And it feels like, it's kind of a microcosm of this bigger issue of gun violence in America.
Absolutely.
So I'm curious, as we wrap up here, what are your biggest takeaways from all of this? What are you thinking about? What questions do you have?
I think for me, the big thing is just the cycle, right?
Well,
like how do we even start to break that cycle?
It feels almost impossible at times.
Yeah. And the other thing is, thinking about how we respond to violence.
Right.
Like how do we grieve and heal without perpetuating more violence? It's tough.
It's a huge question.
Yeah.
And, like I said, I don't think we have all the answers.
Yeah.
But I think it's a conversation we need to keep having.
Definitely.
All right. So to all of you listening, I'm going to leave you with a few things. First of all, if you have any thoughts, anything at all about what we've talked about, any questions, hit us up in the comments.
Yeah.
We want to hear from you. And second, let's not let this story fade away. Let's keep talking about gun violence, about finding solutions, demanding change. This is something we can all do. And finally, if you like what we're doing here, if you find these deep dives informative, if they get you thinking, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, share this with your friends, all that good stuff. It really helps us get the word out. All right, thanks for listening.
Take care, everybody.